Today we want to look at a woman called Anna. No, not that one. No, not her. No, not that one either. Actually, none of these. She certainly hadn't been in any films, not got a great voice as far as I know. She hadn't won a bunch of tennis competitions. Actually, at a quick glance, you could even wonder, why are we even talking about this woman? She has 3 verses in the whole of the Bible, yet we can learn so much from the life that Anna leads that is described to us in the New Testament in the book of Luke. So let's set the scene. Jesus has just been born.
Woohoo!
Mary was presenting their baby, the baby Jesus, their firstborn, in Jerusalem, and offering a sacrifice as it was custom, something like a pair of doves or 2 pigeons. Enter our main character. Anna then appears, sees the baby and praises God, telling everyone that salvation has come. Something that maybe doesn't sound that different really, as we've just seen a guy called Simeon do the same. But the scriptures go on to tell us some background about Anna, and I've come to learn that if it's in the Bible, it's been decided to be put there, and therefore it's pretty significant. In Luke 2 verse 36-38 it says this: Anna, a prophet, was also there in the temple. She was the daughter of Phanuel from the tribe of Asher. She was very old. Her husband died when they had been married only 7 years. Then she lived as a widow to the age of 84. She never left the temple but stayed there day and night, worshipping God with fasting and prayer. She came along just as Simeon was talking with Mary and Joseph, and she began praising God. She talked about the child to everyone who had been waiting expectantly for God to rescue Jerusalem. Just 3 verses, but we can learn so much from Anna. Think about this Anna as a young lady 2,000 years ago. She's getting ready to get married. She'll probably be at the age of 15. She's maybe thinking hen do, wedding cake, honeymoon, kids. Life was ahead of her. This was an exciting time. She settles into new life. She's got so much to look forward to. 7 years go by and life just suddenly crashes around her. She loses her husband. She's a widow at around 22 years old. Becoming a widow was so huge, it left you vulnerable, no protection, no one providing for her. Her life would have come to a complete standstill. Heartbreak. What is she going to do? This is a little more than just a Ben and Jerry's moment on the sofa watching movies kind of thing. This is tough stuff. Whilst in the movies they probably show someone just like this go into a state of just shutting down, shutting themselves off from people, maybe not turning up for work, not answering calls, we see a really different attitude with Anna. We see Anna not let this defeat her. She went to the temple and served God for years and years. She literally threw herself into God's arms. Isaiah 54 verse 4 and 5 says this: a new lease of life. Fear not. You will no longer live in shame. Don't be afraid. There is no more disgrace for you. You will no longer remember the shame of your youth and the sorrows of widowhood. For your Creator will be your husband. The Lord of the heavens' armies is his name. He is your Redeemer, the Holy One of Israel, the God of all the earth. Anna the prophet is the way she's described in Luke. And a prophet is simply a person regarded as an inspired teacher or proclaimer of the will of God. Healing and transformation happened in her life, from the broken widow to the prophet. She got to a place of wholeness and healing and became a pillar in her community, where people saw her and her walk with God and wanted to replicate that. God turned around what the enemy meant for evil. God took Anna into a place of his glory where he could show his love and faithfulness, where she walked so closely with him. Anna's story immediately encourages us by showing us that no matter what we are going through or what we've experienced, God is able to take what we've gone through and do a work in us that will count for his glory and for our good. There are 3 things I believe we can specifically learn from Anna's life journey that can help us on ours, whether we're facing a difficult season right now or not. Number 1, we have a place to go. We can turn to God. We may be blessed with friends, family, people at school, and more, but isn't it such a comfort to know, with an assurance, we have a God we can turn to who is an ever-present help in time of need? No matter what is happening, what is going on, we have a place. We have a God who lives and dwells amongst us. He never leaves us. Hebrews 4:16 says, "Come boldly to the throne of grace." Here's Tim sharing a pretty vulnerable place that he found himself in last year with his family and how things turned out.
So last year I became severely ill with a kidney infection that caused my body to start shutting down. This was extremely painful and caused a lot of stress and anxiety. And then a couple of months later, my wife Esther was admitted to hospital with stroke symptoms and doctors discovered a lesion on her brain. This resulted in almost 5 months of recovery, again involving great pain and anxiety. And it was a really scary time for us as a family, but knowing that we could rely on God really helped change every outlook involved with it all. The incredible thing about being a part of God's family is that he has loads of family members. This is a big church, and so there's lots of people that are willing to step in and help, and we were amazed at just how many people were happy to step in and cook meals for us, babysit our kids when we had to go to hospital appointments. They were up for collecting food shopping for us, things that seemed quite small but actually really helped us out in a massive way. And above all else, they were really happy to just pray for us and offer us support of any kind they could offer, which was amazing. In all honesty, I think without God's help, we may not have got through this last season that we've been through. The most incredible gift he gave us, for me and Esther, was peace. Above all else, it was a peace that transcended all of the worry and the stress and the doubt that bombarded us the moment things went wrong, and peace that we could make it through this difficult time and be proud that we put our faith in God was amazing for us. He gave us great confidence that even when the doctor says, this is what's happened, this is what's gone wrong, this is my final outcome, but actually God showed us that he was in control. And after being told that she would need to train her body to be able to walk again and to sort of reteach her brain how to do things, Esther received a word from God and was miraculously healed, which was amazing. And that's the faith that I have in my God. All of this is helped, backed up by reading his word every day. I always really struggled disciplining myself to read my Bible regularly, and now I can't stop. So much of it speaks directly into my life and my current situations that I'm almost hanging on every verse, and this has helped me greatly get through so many different things. I think the most obvious verse for me that sticks out, that's helped me, is Psalm 46:10. Be still and know that I am God. And I think for such a small verse, it has such a massive impact on me. I think just taking a moment to just breathe and not freak out and worry that everything is going wrong, but just lay everything on him and know that he is in control. And that has helped me massively. And another amazing verse that I read in the Passion Translation is from John 14:27, and that is, I leave the gift of peace with you, my peace. Not the kind of fragile peace given by the world, but my perfect peace. Don't yield to fear or be troubled in your hearts. Instead, be courageous. And that's exactly what I try to do every day.
Number 2, we have a place to stay and we can stay with God. We read that Anna never left the temple but stayed there day and night worshipping God with fasting and prayer. Anna stayed at the temple day and night. God lives in us and with us. Anna didn't just go to God, get fired up, then move on herself. She shows that we can't do life without God. She dwells in his presence all the time. It's constant. She is constantly staying connected. Not just a time in the morning or in the evening. I actually keep hearing people at the moment talking about putting an alarm on their phone at midday to remind them to think about what God has spoken to them in that morning, to keep things in the day, giving them over to God and being a constant conversation with him. Finding time to talk with God in every part of the day, reading the Bible. He's your friend. He wants to be involved as much as you communicate with your friends. God is present. Number 3, we have an experience to have. We can encounter God. By encounter, I mean moments that leave us with no doubt about God's reality. Moments that leave you with no doubt about His presence and His ability. Moments that can make you tell the world confidently that God is alive. You know, no one can talk you out of having an experience or an encounter with God. Anna spent so much time encountering God. She communed with God in the temple for 84 years. This must have been a great and rewarding time, providing with so many opportunities to encounter God in special ways, leading up to when she actually met the baby Jesus. For us today, we can turn to God and stay with Him. We can surely be expectant for encounters with Him. We're tuned in to God and staying in that place of regular connection with Him. What happens is that we begin to notice Him everywhere we look. Not because He wasn't previously there, but because we are now noticing. When we give our attention to something, our brain begins to notice more of what we are thinking about. For me at the moment, it's cars. We need a new car, and so we've been doing some research into what we want. To be honest, I'm thinking about what colour we want, but my husband is thinking about the more important things. Since talking about certain cars, I now see them everywhere. What you are thinking about unconsciously guides you to relevant information in the environment. It's the same way when we start to focus our attention on God, we begin to notice Him more and more, and we don't miss encounters with Him where maybe we would have previously missed. Are we expectant for encounters? How can we be more like Anna in our attitude to walking with God?
Thanks so much for watching KingsGate Youth on YouTube. Make sure you like the video, maybe leave us a comment and subscribe if you haven't already. If you can't get enough of KingsGate Youth, why not follow us on Instagram and TikTok at kingsgate.youth. We'll catch you in the comments.